The Friesian horse is a horse the Friesian people can truly be proud of. It is the only inland horse breed of the Netherlands, and it is exceptionally well suited as a sport horse. Friesian horses are loyal, willing to work, and steady by nature. Nowadays, Friesian horses can be found all over the world. Friesian horses are particularly suitable as show horses, but also as an all-round utility horse. Its physical characteristics make it a great show horse, and its character makes it a versatile utility horse. This DVD will show the life of a Friesian horse, from the birth of the foal to the time it becomes a top-level athlete, performing in the Grand Prix dressage, for example. The foal can be seen shortly after birth, trying to get up and discover the world. Answers will be given to such questions as, when can I start to train my horse? What should I teach it? And how can I best do this? All the important topics of raising and training a young horse will be covered. The end result is a beautiful overview of how to best prepare your horse for a sporting career. You will be given an idea of how to raise a young horse, advice on aspects such as how to make a horse easy to handle, tips for playful training, and later on more focused training. These tips are provided to allow you to enjoy your Friesian horse as much as possible. It all begins with breeding the mare. Nowadays, this usually takes place by artificial insemination. The stallion breeds a mare stand-in, a so-called phantom. The semen is collected and later inseminated into the mare. This is preferable to live cover because of better hygiene. Once in foal, it is important for a mare to get regular exercise. This will prevent boredom and monotony. Begin by having the horse go around, moving naturally in each of the 3 gaits, both left and right lead. Having a foal demands a great deal from the mare physically. It is important that the abdominal and pelvic muscles are well developed. The better the mare's ability to take in oxygen through training, the less taxing the birth process will be. After the birth, an active and fit mare will stimulate the foal to be active as well, and the foal will be able to walk, trot, and canter more quickly and easily. This ability was a great advantage in the past, when horses still lived in the wild and had to flee. In addition, exercise, of course, results in a better overall condition and a suppler and stronger horse. This mare demonstrates a much more functional walk with the side reins on. The crouper makes sure that the surcingle cannot be pulled forward. It is a good idea to use side reins to loosen up the back and better influence the horse's self-carriage. If the back and vertebrae are not supple, the horse's nervous system can be disturbed. This can lead to all kinds of undesirable effects, not only on the pregnancy, but also on fertility. A supple back also contributes positively to a birth without complications. If the side reins are fastened correctly, the horse will be forced to relax the back muscles and tighten the abdominal muscles. The abdominal muscles in particular play an important role during the birthing process. This also prevents the back from sinking. Having a horse transition with side reins promotes flexibility and so use of the back. Training with a double lunge line is very suitable for well-trained horses, but the trainer must also be experienced. Hooking the mare up to a drag will provide a form of easygoing exercise for variation. At times, it is good to put some weight on the drag to make sure the mare has to tighten her muscles more. By looping the reins, you can give rein and pull back. In this way, the horse can find support in the light pressure of your hands, allowing it to be led more easily. We call this contact with the reins. If you allow the horse to halt shortly, it can catch its breath. This is simultaneously an exercise in obedience. The mare is nearing her due date. She is now trotting with difficulty, taking short strides, but she is still in excellent condition and now ready to give birth. When the mare is about to give birth, her udder will wax up. The gaskin muscles are not pronounced and feel flaccid. Then the foal is born. For a good start, it is important that the placenta completely drains into the foal. The discovery begins. The foal is starting to venture out on its own a bit, but keeps going back to the mare for protection. It is unbelievable how quickly a foal develops its coordination, speed, and dexterity during the first few days. The senses of feeling and touch develop just as quickly. The horse continues to develop its coordination and overall dexterity until the age of 2. This is why it's important that a young horse has plenty of room to develop. An early foal that does not go outside until late April after a tough winter and a wet spring will have an insurmountable disadvantage in development and will never become an exceptional sport horse. A foal will quickly develop a strong personality. It's important then to teach it obedience while it is still physically manageable. A farmer who has bred horses and raised foals his entire life taught me the following method for training a foal to walk along actively. The foal will also get used to the feeling of traces, which is an advantage when you first hook the horse up to the cart. It is good if a foal is handled often, right from the start. Lift its legs every once in a while and let it get used to physical contact. Never use force when working with a foal, and never give it the feeling that you are attacking it. Only in this way will you gain its trust. The mare walks right along, but the foal will protest a bit at first. The foal is forced to follow along. It will also learn that it has to wait a little at times. Another advantage of training the foal in the presence of the mare is that the foal will get used to the vocal commands being given to its mother. The mare is already moving with much more ease than just prior to giving birth. By letting the mare and foal get some exercise at liberty in the arena, the foal will quickly develop good dexterity. It is not at all bad to have the foal take a little jump every once in a while. It will learn better timing and its coordination will also increase. Because a jump is a brief, intense action, the foal will also learn to use its anaerobic energy. A good mare will invest a great deal of energy in her foal. The musculature of the back will decrease and the spine will become more pronounced. Also, the musculature in the croup decreases and the abdomen will protrude. Myoplast in combination with responsible training would really be beneficial here. Gentle exercise is the best way to develop the back again. If the mare is put lightly on the side reins at a low setting, her body will have opportunity to come together again. It is typical for a Friesian horse to curl up in the neck, especially at the beginning of the training. That is why the side reins are hanging loose. During the warm-up, gently lunge the horse forward in all 3 gaits. It will start to look for contact. By exercising brood mares functionally, you will prevent the back from becoming more and more hollow over time. Stiffness, premature wear and tear, and the loss of refinement will also be avoided. Horses are not bothered by bad weather as much as we think. This is why horses should really be turned out in the pasture for at least a few hours every day. This will strengthen their immune system and, in bad weather, there is always a dry spot somewhere in the pasture or arena where the horses can be exercised. The foal teases the mom a little bit and even leads in the game. It's becoming more daring and brazen, yet it is also continually learning to follow better, and it's even starting to give some in the turns. Both horses know the game. The foal is now ready to be weaned into a group. When the foal, now a yearling, is put out with a group, it discovers a whole new world. It becomes acquainted with its peers and learns to fight for its place in the hierarchy. This explains the macho attitude. This process of socialization now facing the horse is very important for its further development. The animals stimulate each other. They learn to adapt to the group and to play together. All winter, this young horse is out in the pasture during the day and in the stall at night. He has been handled a great deal and has regularly done some exercises in the outdoor arena. Around May 1st he was placed in a new group, this time as a 2-year-old. These horses are adolescents. More bravado is clearly visible at this age. All the young stallions are grouped together on the same day, when no hierarchy has yet been established. In this way, the exclusion of one or more of the horses is prevented. It's a good idea to have several mares and foals turned out together in one pasture. As they play together, the foal's development will be stimulated. Here at the Groenestein stables, we can see the ideal group housing for raising young horses. The horses get to go outside every day for conditioning, but they are also handled daily. The stallion raising project in Kerkgast is a wonderful idea that originated from the Friesian horses stud book. This 2-year-old stayed with us for a few days. Just as with children, it is often good for a horse to visit a new environment at times. It makes the horse more independent. It is also very good for a 2-year-old to get some controlled exercise. The horse sees and learns all kinds of new things, and it learns to be led. The horse must learn to be led in hand correctly. No pulling ahead and no dragging behind. It must actively walk along with you in a disciplined manner. You can let a horse move at liberty in a fenced-in arena. As the trainer, you must direct the horse with body language. By making yourself big, you will steer the horse away from you. If you want action, you lift the whip. Lower the whip and use your voice if you want less action. You are the one who always determines the distance between the horse and you. After a good exercise, briefly pet the horse as a reward. These horses were first stalled next to each other, and they are now out together in the pasture for the first time. For horses, a new environment and getting to meet other horses is refreshing. They will also stimulate each other. By working with 2 people in a marked-off riding arena, you can exercise your horse with ease. Each handler is responsible for one half of the arena. You pass the horse on to one another, as it were. Do pay attention that you remain behind the eye of the horse. If you stand in front of the horse's line of sight, it will have the tendency to slow down or even stop. Changing direction can easily be taught by standing in the right spot. Direction and action can be signaled. Because the horses can move in straight lines with this exercise, this method is very suitable for young and recuperating horses. Hosing down and using the scraper are new experiences for the horse. If it finds this a bit frightening, take a short break. Remain calm and try again. Impatient behavior and yelling will only have a negative effect. A 3-year-old mare is being dropped off at the training facility, Piet Sigma Training Stables. Piet will prepare the mare for inspection. When a horse first comes in, it is checked over in detail. Then the mare is disinfected to prevent the potential spread of contagious diseases. The mare will be allowed all the time she needs to get used to her new surroundings. The horses are first side-reined long and low to check the horse's posture. They go to work with care, and there cannot be any tension on the lunge line or the horse will be pulled inward. The mouth is nicely closed and on the lips is a white creamy foam. This only happens if the horse is relaxed. If a horse is tense, the saliva will drip in long slimy strings from the mouth.
En ik kan heel gauw, want dan heb ik een iets langere hals hier en hier dat er meer op deze manier broeken kind. Dat je in beweging ik makkelijker van zelf. Ik doe voor mij niet te lange broek te gaan.
Lunging outside is a welcome change. Walk the horse a great deal to build up mutual trust. The horse is taught to stand still and wait patiently. Grooming is simply designed to accentuate the positive and camouflage the weaker features of the horse. The big moment has arrived. On the premises of the beautiful facilities of the Friesian Horses Stud Book, inspections take place regularly. Under the auspices of the Royal Friesian Horses Stud Book, the inspections are well managed. Good organization and a large staff of volunteers make these days a treat for many people. Real horse experts inspect the horses here. Of course, the horses being inspected experience a healthy dose of tension. The environment is new, and the horses are often at their peak of fitness. It is advisable to use a header during the walk. This is someone who tries to slow the horse down somewhat. A horse can only walk well if it uses its neck for balance. A horse that is tense will throw its head up in the air, resulting in a shorter stride. Here we see a correct walk, although the length of stride could be better. During the trot, it is important that the handler runs in rhythm with the horse and stays roughly level with the horse's shoulder. The chaser keeps an eye on the tempo without using too much whip. The handler must be able to keep the horse moving in a relaxed manner. The mare is declared a star mare. The down-to-earth Friesian owner looks at his horse with contentment.
Nee, hij is hartstikke jong. Hij is hier 69.
At Stallion Station, Hengstenstation de Nieuwe Heuvel in Lunteren, countless stallions are prepared for stallion inspection by the Friesian Horses Stud Book each year. They use a special halter with a bit here for better control, and a small whip to support the voice commands. They work calmly and consistently, which prevents the stallions from acting up. The horses are walked and trotted in hand often and exercised on the hot walker daily. They receive a very precise training and a great deal of individual attention. Being allowed to take a daily role in an arena installed specifically for this activity is a feast for every horse. We are at the facilities of Ted Kop Jansen in Wapse. Here, a 3-year-old stallion is allowed to move at liberty in a controlled setting, in a special lunging pen. We always start without side reins. That way the muscles can warm up while the horse moves about naturally. Once the horse is warmed up, we'll guide the horse into a more functional self-carriage by lightly side-reining it, without shortening the neck. The rope we are using can move freely over the withers, and in this way the stallion can determine its bend and flexibility for himself. To clarify, bend is the bend in the neck from left to right. Flexibility is the total bend lengthwise from neck to tail.
Achterbeen inzoomen.
Nee.
This horse will be ridden for the first time today. Trust between rider and horse is incredibly important. The rider must be experienced, have good control over his body position, and be adept at moving with the motions of the horse. This way, the horse will be disturbed as little as possible in its movements. A flexible seat that flows with the movement is the best way to help the forward drive. We've tied a lead rope around the neck of the horse. This way, the rider can hold on to the rope should the horse move forward suddenly, and she will not pull the horse in the mouth. We also have the stirrups 2 holes shorter than usual. Everything must be carried out calmly. When we first mount the horse, we turn the front of the horse off to the side. This horse has already been lunged several times. It also has had side reins on, so it is used to the pressure in its mouth. We always reward the horse in sync. An assistant must always be present to keep an eye out. The rider is particularly vulnerable in the moment as she first mounts the horse when she has no control over the horse yet. So it is important that the rider and assistant work well together. The process of mounting and dismounting is repeated several times. This way the horse gets used to the feeling and it learns to wait while being mounted. Finally, the rider will mount one more time without any help. In this way, we are making use of the fact that a horse remembers a positive experience for a long time. In this fashion, you can start tomorrow where you left off today. Each training session begins with something familiar, after which something new can be added. We are going to break a horse to drive. As usual, this training starts in the stall. First, we calmly make a connection with the horse. A relaxed atmosphere is important. The horse also learns to stand patiently this way.
Nou, dat is precies hetzelfde.
We let the horse walk around the arena a few times. This way, the horse gets used to the reins and the traces. The horse must learn to trust in order to accept new experiences. It is important that the structure of the training be logical. Do not proceed to the next step until the current lesson has been understood and accepted. Do not continue on too long that the training becomes ineffective. Breaking a horse to drive is a question of teamwork between the horse, the trainer, and the assistant. The assistant will provide some counter pressure. He or she can gradually increase this pressure. In this way, the horse will get used to the pressure of the chest piece. Then we put one of the traces in between the hind legs. It happens to horses at times that a trace ends up between the legs and it needs to get used to that feeling. Horses that have regularly worn a blanket with leg straps will usually barely respond to this because they already know the feeling. It's a good idea to put the drag at an angle before the horse pulls it for the first time. This way it has to first straighten out the drag, which gradually increases the pressure on the chest. The driver and assistant are well coordinated. These are obviously experts at work here. To ensure safety, it is essential when training that you, as a rider, know what you are capable of, but also what you are not capable of. If you are at all in doubt about your own capabilities, always bring in an expert. Perhaps it is not very obvious now, but these moments are always a bit tense. It looks calm and harmonious. However, this is a sensitive mare, and there is always a danger that she will shy and panic if we yell or make an abrupt stop. Sometimes the difference between building up confidence and having a horse bolt is ever so slight. Therefore, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to work calmly.
Pasjes?
Then the mare is hitched up to the training cart. It is light and cannot jackknife in case the horse should back up. Everyone is highly focused. Nothing may go wrong. After this step, the horse is then hooked up to a four-wheel cart. This is demonstrated here in one day, but when doing this on your own, it would be better, of course, to do it step by step over the course of a week or two. Zwijndrecht guides the horse with rare expertise. Note that the horse is already looking and bending in the direction we're asking it to go. Bend and tempo are already well under control, although the situation is still fragile, of course. The young horses arrive for the performance testing by the Friesian horse's stud book. A veterinarian checks the health of the horse. Young horses are still vulnerable, and it is important to start gently. Horses that were already handled regularly at home and have been lightly trained will have considerably less difficulty physically and mentally during such a test. The horses take in many new impressions. They enter a new environment, miss their buddies from home, have to stand in between strange walls, and the feed is often different. For these reasons, the training for such tests doesn't start until the next day. These are experts at work. Don't assume, I can do this too, because experts always make it look easier than it really is. The horses are expertly trained under saddle and in harness and will go home with a wealth of experience under their belt. The data gathered during a test like this are of immeasurable value. They tell you a great deal about the aptitude of a horse and are very useful when choosing a stallion. Normally speaking, a horse does not fully mature until the age of 7 or 8. If you have saddle trained and lightly worked your horse as a 3-year-old, it is wise to then give it a few months off in pasture. This is good because it will help to develop the overall condition. Growth and changes in the horse's body proportions can further develop. The training can then be resumed at the age of 3.5 or 4. However, be careful with young horses. It would be unwise to work on targeted collection exercises before the horse has reached 6 or 7 years of age. It's now a few days later. Here in the indoor arena we are making use of the fact that the horse is a herd animal. The other rider is riding a horse that is already more seasoned under saddle, and the green horse can follow its example. Whether the horse is moving correctly or not is not yet of importance. Horses are outdoor animals that need to be trained outside as much as possible. Outside training will also help them to get used to all kinds of stimuli.
Mooi Judith. Ja, zie je dat beloningje, dat is zo belangrijk. Goed zo. Oké Judith, genoeg. Beetje netjes bij elkaar zien te rijden. Goed zo. Oké. Mooi. Stap overgaan Judith. Belonen.
The mare has a great deal of support from the more experienced horse. It is already learning to walk in straight lines, and only short stretches of trotting and cantering are done, so that the horse will not tire too quickly.
Stap anders maar hoor. Okay.
Good aftercare ensures that the horse finishes up the training session with a good feeling.